This is Peter Morosky, the nurse, and today I want to say on why I think Michael Corvin would defeat the Van Helsing werewolf from Van Helsing 2004. I'm making this video today because all the major videos I see on Michael Corvin fighting someone is Klaus from the originals. I get it. Look, I get it. It's fun to put two vampire werewolf hybrids against each other, but in my opinion, this matchup is kind of outdated because it's obvious that Klaus wins. And as you know, Michael Corvin is my favorite character, but I know Michael would get slaughtered by Klaus. And Klaus beats Michael, end of discussion, right? Like I said, I'm not biased towards this. I take facts into consideration and all the facts with this. Michael's dead. He would put up a little bit of a fight, but he's dead against Klaus. Let's be real about that. And now, why I think Michael would beat Van Helsing, and I will break it down. And I know people will say Van Helsing easily beats Michael too. But people who say this, they don't go into full detail about this. First of all, speed. While Van Helsing is really fast and he was able to keep up with Dracula, he doesn't have teleportation like speed, and we can clearly see him when he moves. So it moves when he fights Dracula. Michael, on the other hand, this man can move so fast, it's like he's teleporting, as we saw in his fight with Victor. When Michael just pushes Victor like this, he's already down there before Victor can even get up. And by the time Victor gets up, Michael's behind him, and Victor didn't even freaking notice it. And when Van Helsing goes to strike Michael would just do the same thing he did to Victor, and Michael just pretty much teleport behind Van Helsing, just land a strike before Van Helsing could even react to it. And as for agility, to be honest, both of these guys have extremely impressive agility. Van was able to leap one like this, jump to one place to the other, grab and going after Dracula and just ripping his wings off, which is awesome, by the way. And Michael was able to dodge and flip out of Victor's attacks, and Michael was able to jump extremely high, in a high ceiling in the anime Endless War, with no problem. He was able to dodge William's attacks as well, just jump over him and just smack him in the head. And to be honest, it's kind of hard who has the better agility here, but I would say they're a tie here. But if I had to pick one, if in terms of agility, I would give the edge to Van Helsing. Just to be clear, I'll give the agility part to Van Helsing, just slightly though. And as for strength, I would definitely give this to Michael. Not just because he's a hybrid, but because we haven't seen that much strength feats from Van Helsing. Michael was able to fight Marcus and be on par with him, and it's even said that Michael could actually be stronger because if you know anything about Underworld, Lycans are stronger than vampires, and Michael's a Lycan dominant hybrid. And Marcus is a vampire dominant hybrid at the time, so Michael would kind of canonically be stronger than Marcus. But of course, as we know, Marcus was able to beat Michael and catch him off guard. And let's be honest, Marcus is strong enough to pull a helicopter to the ground. If you watch the Underworld Evolution movie, Marcus grabs like this and just drags it down and just freaking crashes to the ground, right? Crashes to the ground. You got to be freaking really strong to be able to do that. And it's worth noting, as I said before, if it's true, it's canonically Michael is stronger than Marcus, and so Michael will be able to do this as well with no problem. And the fact that Michael could fight someone of this strength is insane and shows how strong he really is, right? While Dracula from Van Helsing could do the same thing. I'm not saying it's impossible for him to do it, but we haven't seen him do anything like this, so we can't say for complete sure, but it is more than likely. But for the time being, no. And Dracula was the only real opponent that we have that the Van Helsing werewolf actually fought. That's the only real opponent we see, because Van Helsing doesn't turn into a werewolf till the end of the movie, and that's just so he could defeat Dracula, because werewolves are the only thing that can kill Dracula in this universe, right? And not to mention, Michael was able to fight multiple werewolves, including William, a werewolf that could be on par with Van Helsing if he was at full strength. And Michael was able to rip his head in two, right? Which is an awesome scene, by the way. That was awesome. And yeah, so strength definitely goes to Michael in my opinion. And as for abilities, I will give this to Michael as well. But their abilities appear to be similar at first. The strength, the agility, and speed, and all that kind of stuff. But Michael has one thing that Van Helsing doesn't. in Underworld, vampires can actually, if you watch the Underworld movies, the vampires in the Underworld franchise can drink blood and they can gain your memories, like how Victor drank Sonya's blood to find out the truth about her relationship with Lucian, and to his disgust, in the memories he saw Lucian banging Sonya. So that's kind of that's I think that mentally scarred him for life. And since Michael is half vampire in this, it's not far fetched for Michael to have this ability as well. And Michael will, if using his greatest speed, Michael will be able to get onto Van Helsing and bite into him and suck his blood and maybe get some of his memories, right? Who knows, maybe the vampire virus in this could actually affect Van Helsing in some way. We don't know, because it's two different universes, right? Van Helsing is supernatural. Michael is just like a mutation in a virus, right? And to be honest, not that Michael needs to do this, because Van Helsing has the same weakness that Lycans in Underworld do, right? You can kill him by silver. Plus, Van Helsing is completely mindless in his werewolf form. And as for durability, both of these guys can take some massive hits. Like Michael got beat up by Victor, Marcus, and William, and Marcus impaled him through the heart, and he was able to come back to life and without having any substance, right? And he got slammed into a concrete wall, into a freaking solid wall by William, and he just got back up. And Michael is completely immune to sunlight and silver as a hybrid, right? And as for Van Helsing, we never see him take that much damage. I mean, he's very weak to silver. Like early in the movie, in the one movie, another werewolf in this universe was killed by a single silver bullet. Like multiple normal bullets did nothing to him, but one silver bullet, that's all it took. And so one silver bullet is all you need to kill Van Helsing. So yeah, durability definitely goes to Michael. Now here's the major reason why Michael beats Van Helsing, is that Michael has complete control over himself and is able to think when he's still in his hybrid form. He's able to figure out ways to beat his enemy. And as we saw in his fight in Underworld Evolution against Tannis' werewolf bodyguards, Michael was able to use their chains against them and defeat them very strategically, very brilliantly, like casually, right? So the first one he's fighting outside where he just crashes through the car. Like Michael was after the werewolf freaking gives him a freaking big uppercut, and Michael lands on the car and Michael lands on the ground. Michael just looks at the werewolf, then he sees the chain like this, he grabs the chain and just slams the werewolf against the car, and Michael just walks. And when the werewolf's knocked out, Michael just walks up to him, goes like this, rips the bottom jaw off, dead. Dead. Whew. And just after this, he was able to do this to a second werewolf. He was in a tight tunnel, like it's a really small tunnel. And the werewolf came at him, and Michael was able to slam him against the wall, then freaking wrap the chain around his neck, grab him like this, just go and kill him, and kill him. Whew. Oh, and also another thing, Michael is able to recognize his allies, like his lover Celine, played by the gorgeous Kate Beckinsale. Beautiful. Van Helsing, on the other hand, he has no control over himself and will attack anything he sees without even thinking. Sure, he was able to kill Dracula, but let's be honest, Dracula was pretty stupid in that fight. Like, if you watch the fight casually and analyze it, you'll see how stupid Dracula is in that fight. So it wasn't really that hard for Van Helsing to actually get the better of him. It's still an awesome fight though. Because of this, Van Helsing can't use his centuries of combat experience, because they're basically gone at this point. Like his human mind, there's no human mind left. He's just a savage beast in his werewolf form, so he can't use any of his combat experience. So many other little short videos say combat experience goes to Van Helsing and all that. Sure, true, in his human form, yeah, but in his werewolf form, that's useless, because he can't use it, because it's completely useless. He can't think like a human. He's just a savage beast. He can't use any of his combat training or anything, so that's completely useless. And unlike Michael, Van Helsing's not able to recognize his allies, as we see when he killed Princess Anna, who's also played by the gorgeous Kate Beckinsale. And I apologize. So Van Helsing's not able to recognize his allies, not able to think strategically in his form like Michael can. But let's be honest, we've got to give both of these guys credit for bagging a woman that played by Kate Beckinsale. Like if you can bag a woman as gorgeous as Kate Beckinsale in any universe, you are a freaking Chad. You're a freaking Chad. Like, yeah, damn. Like if you watch Underworld or Van Helsing, you know how gorgeous this woman is. So yeah, so well done to both of you. Though it's worth noting that Van Helsing killed his Kate Beckinsale while Michael didn't. So yeah. But back to my point. Since Van Helsing can't use the essentials of combat knowledge, Michael will be able to take advantage of this and get the better of him. Since he can think tactically, Michael will be able to use his United States Marine Corps training that he was taught when he was 18 and use his own experience fighting Lycans, combine that together against Van Helsing, and eventually Michael will overcome Van Helsing, and Van Helsing would be dead. And if Michael's able to use his greatest speed and strength to get close to him and stab him with a silver stake, it's all over. Like, just in case Van Helsing's head is too tough to rip off like he did with William, like, Michael could use his great agility and his greatest speed just to get a silver stake and then stab or casually shoot him because Michael doesn't know how to shoot a gun because he was in the Marine Corps and he's able to shoot Celine's guns. Like, so yeah, so at this point, Van Helsing is very screwed. And that's why Michael Corvin, the Lycan vampire hybrid, would kick Van Helsing werewolf's ass. And I know, look, I love both of these guys. Like I said, both of them got a version of Kate Beckinsale to fall in love with them. So these two are Chads, and their fight would be legendary and epic. Like, this is a fight I would love to see, and I'm sure lots of fans would love to see this fight as well. And let's be honest, Michael Corvin and Van Helsing are the peak of what these kind of beings should be. Not those little bitches in in freaking Vampire Diaries like Damon, like not him. He freaking, that guy rapes women, just brainwashes women to be his girlfriend, and let's be honest, and they're nothing like Jacob from Twilight. That guy is really sus. Like, that guy imprinted on a baby when the baby wasn't even conceived in Bella. Like, that's just freaking disgusting and creepy, right? So again, this fight would be epic, but I would give it to Michael Corvin. Michael Corvin for the win. And if you don't agree with me, that's fine. Like, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. And this has been Puri Morosky, the Nurser. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you and have a great day.